We've all been so excited for the Warhammer series that Henry Cavill's attached to and have been eagerly awaiting news on what it will entail, but unfortunately, Games Workshop may irreparably damage the game before then because they've majorly retconned it by adding female custodians, lying about it, and people are furious. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, over the past few days, there's been a lot announced for Warhammer. There are, new battle boxes announced that people are talking about. We also have a new codex, Adeptus Custodes, including all of the rules that players, of course, will be happy to hear about, but also they have a big lore section within this new codex, and in it, they have decided to retcon the custodians by adding females to their ranks. Now, of course, there are constantly changes within tabletop games and within lore of games in general, but usually companies are pretty forward with that. They're pretty excited to talk about it. But when it comes to Warhammer, that's not what Games Workshop did. They decided to sneak it in thinking that nobody would notice, and people are furious. And on one of their recent posts on Twitter/X, they've posted about the codexes and the battle boxes, and people are calling them out, saying things like, why did you make female custodians? Now, if you don't know what the custodians are, they are basically the Praetorians of the Emperor of Mankind, an elevated elite whose raw strength and willpower are wholly insurmountable, and there's also a lot of lore surrounding them already, establishing that they are a male-only, group. It says it is known that all custodians begin their lives as the infant sons of the noble houses of Terra. They are called the Brotherhood, right? It's clearly written within all of the lore up until now that they are a male-only group. It is said in tons of different things, allowing every dynasty that has offered up its sons to claim their children as the successful ones, alive and well amongst the Golden Brotherhood. But now, with these changes that they didn't really announce or make a big deal out of or highlight for fans, they decided to also lie on social media. People are calling them out. Why do you make female custodians? Since the first 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians, but the lie detector has determined that that is a lie, and with just a few minutes of research, even if you're not a big Warhammer fan, you can figure out that that is not true, and that they are straight up lying, basically thinking that their fans, that the audience that they have, are filled with idiots. It is so disrespectful to do this, to act this way, and to respond in this way, like people who have dedicated thousands of hours of their lives to, painting minis and reading lore and also playing, that they didn't know the lore. It is so disrespectful to just straight up lie, and they are getting called the heck out. Nobody seems to be happy with this. It is, of course, never good to lie to your consumers because we're always going to call you out. And this, of course, is the new entry. It says Custodian Calades Kesh stood upon the bridge of a Cobra-class destroyer, and it specified she lingered in the shadows in the back of the bridge, and that she's clearly just a female, which, if this is the way that the lore had always been, it wouldn't be a big deal, but that is actually not the case. That is not what is happening here. And it's not like we're talking about a franchise that has no women that are part of it, because that is most certainly not the case. Right off the top of my head, I instantly think of the Sisterhood, whose military arm is known as the Sisters of Battle, and formerly the Daughters of the Emperor. Their focus is to root out the spiritual corruption and heresy within humanity and every organization of the Adeptus Terra. So it is perfectly fine to have, military arms within a franchise that are male dominated and also female dominated, that is not a problem, and it should not be a problem. But now, of course, we have a company changing around their lore and saying, oh no, it's been this way since the beginning, even though that's just not the case. And of course, there are some people trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, saying, as long as this is the only thing that they change, I'm perfectly fine with that. But you are delusional if you believe this is the only thing that they're going to alter, that they'll leave what you care about alone. Of course, they're not going to stop here. Why would they? Especially when there are individuals like those people who are defending them tooth and nail, saying, oh, well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That is the problem, is when you give companies the benefit of the doubt, they will always push their limits. When you give them an inch, they will take 5 miles. They do not care about respecting the canon and the lore that already exists, and when they know that people are going to back them up, they're going to continue to make changes. Now, of course, you would not be wrong to speculate these were done at the behest of an outside source, because if we look at their substantial shareholders list, investment firms BlackRock and Vanguard are part of that list, and the two combined control over 17% of the company's shares. So it definitely seems like there was outside interference here. Of course, that will never be confirmed, but when you see investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard pop up, that is instant red flags, especially when we have so many years of lore here and so many people that have worked on this game and been part of it that have established that time and time again. It's not like there was only ever just one codex entry for this and they happened to expand upon it. We're not talking about that situation. Now, like I mentioned, there have been tons of people on social media absolutely roasting them, saying things like, I'm not really into Warhammer, and even I know that's not true. I feel bad for the hardcore fans. And so Warhammer joins Disney and Doctor Who in being allergic to money. Yeah, this is not a way that you gain fans or that you keep fans. All you are doing is pushing your existing audience away. I personally don't think that this approach is going to go as well for you as you think it will. I definitely don't either. We've seen tons of companies go in this direction, and absolutely none of them have been successful in it. Why prior to this has there not been a single named character in all of the books if this is the case? It's so true. You would think that they would have established this years and years ago if this was truly what they wanted, and so these changes just come across as extremely hollow. Of course, while plenty of people are talking about Gamergate 2 and really bad developers, this is not a good look for Games Workshop, and if I was them, I would not be responding on social media. I would make maybe one blanket post saying, hey, this is our response to the situation. We're sorry some of you feel slighted by this. At the end of the day, this is the decision we made, because it's not like they're going to backtrack now. This is already in the new codex. This is already established new lore, so it's not like they're going to, revert the change, because companies really never do that because they don't actually care about fan feedback, sad to say. And of course, I will be keeping my eye on this situation, seeing if anybody who works at the company comes out and calls all of us terrible things like sexists for criticizing these changes. Only time will tell, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.